For years, the HR business partner has been central to the HR operating model. But there seems there might be a change in the air, and perhaps this one role doesn't represent the whole relationship we have with the business. Is this goodbye to the HR business partner? Welcome to Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom, where we look at the latest hot topics and business challenges impacting the people side of organisations. Stick around to the end for our practical top tip. And if you like this video, please subscribe to make sure you get the next in the series. Hi Tom, how are you today?
Excellent. The sun is shining, so perfect.
That's what you want. That's what you want. Now, this is a bit contentious, what we're looking at today. So we're saying perhaps the end or goodbye to the HR business partner. What are we talking about here?
Hello, business partners.
I know.
Hello and goodbye. So I think that for years, initially HR was, you could say, administration. Nobody liked that. Then there was a movement saying HR is more. HR is not only administration, but HR is also strategic advisor and change expert and employee champion, in Ulrich's words. In that movement, of course, then people say, oh, strategic business partner. That's what we want to be, because that sounds a lot better than administrator. So in that movement, and then you had all the discussions as well as how do we get a seat at the table? You remember those discussions. So it started good, but then in that movement, everybody wanted to become a business partner. And as a consequence, there's two things as a consequence. There are too many business partners, because especially large organizations, they have seen every unit has their own HR business partner, and they should be in the management team, etc., etc. And we have lost sight of the other important elements that Dave Ulrich in those days outlined. The employee champion, where is that role? The administration, you could say that's HR operations, which is super, super important. So we should take those into account. So in that movement, we have seen that there are too many business partners and we have lost sight, you could say, of operations and the employees. If large organizations now look at the activities of their business partners, you see that still quite a proportion of their activities is operational. The business partners are also running around and chasing people, etc., etc. Yeah. That is work that should belong in HR operations. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the activities of the HR business partners could go to operations, and then you need less business partners.
It's really interesting because for a while I've been talking to heads of HR around how do you evolve this role? Because actually you're reinventing the wheel all around the business, solving the same problems where, if you embrace more of an agile mindset and start focusing on the most important thing to fix first and then move on to the next, there's this idea of building a multifunctional, multi-skilled team, and you start to answer the problem for the whole business, or at least the, certain parts of the business, solve it there, then move on. And so when I'm talking to these HR directors around how do you evolve the model, they are wondering, what do we do with the HR business partner? So this is a very real topic, and why you've put it in your recent HR Trend Institute report. So what's your ideas on this model? For me, it's linked to a more holistic approach of how we do people experience and operations. But then the business says, but I like my relationship with the HR business partner. So what's your thoughts on this model, where we're going?
One, what I see is in a sense that HR is going to be split. Mm-hmm. So the split is one, the HR operations, which is the most important part of HR, and most HR functions will be in operations. So that's one part, which requires also, you could say, in a sense, a different skill set. And this is about service, it's about customer intimacy, it's about speed, it's about IT, etc., etc., HR operations. Then secondly, you have you could call the HR advisors, HR consultants, HR architects, HR strategists. You don't need a lot of those. And as you said, if you split them too much, you create new silos. So you don't want that. So that's a small group of people that you can use to deal with the most urgent business issues and say, how can we, from an HR perspective, help to solve those issues? I think the third part is focused on the employees. How can we help employees and candidates and other people? How can we help them, you could say, to become better? That has a lot more to do with coaching, performance consulting. Whether you need that exactly in an organization, that's another discussion. As you see, because this is primarily with the employee as a client, not working for the organization, but with the employee. So then you have three parts, different parts. Whether they need to be under one umbrella, I don't know.
Yeah. I kind of feed off that, and I really like that, because I agree. I think great operations is key, and lean, efficient, and seamless for the employee experience. What I also see is that sort of strategic sort of part of the model could be like your product owners, or your project managers, going out, having that more commercial view of what's going on in the business, bringing that in, and then your employee group. Yes, they are developing employees, but they're basically solutions design. And this is where you could have more of that kind of cross-functional, multi-skilled project teams really building solutions to help employees be the best that they can be. And if you do that in a very commercial way, you're helping people be great that then deliver value to the business and the end customer. And that's where it is, isn't it? Yeah. So in all of this, what if you're a HR business partner listening to this conversation today, Tom? Are you what about them? Should they be worried? What's your advice?
Yeah. Now I think, well, you should be watch out that you're not caught in the middle and that you see something. You're neither of the three. You're not a real strategic advisor, you're not a real operation specialist, and you're not an employee champion. So then you're caught in the middle. So I think one advice is make a choice in which of those areas, you could say, your skill set, your passion is. So make a choice and don't look at the wording in the sense, operations has less status than strategy, because I think that's also an element.
I know. It's about that we should all be working together, isn't it? It's the people strategy overall, and to make that happen, you need great operations and great consultancy. And I think also what we haven't necessarily talked about in this one, but we have before, is we also want business people in these teams representing, don't we? Exactly. And I have seen more HR business papers take on roles like agile coach, or you've talked more about being this architect. How do you help the organization grow in different ways? So there's lots of new ways that a HR business partner can truly add value, and it's actually better moving beyond all the operational work. Great. Thanks so much, Tom. And one practical tip to take away is that the message here is that we can't get it all done ourselves. You can't just be this single topic owner or this lone business partner wanting to solve all the problems. We need to work in teams to get the job done. And this is the message. Next time you've got a problem, work in a multi-skilled, multifunctional team, focus on that one problem, get it done, and then move on to the next. And you'll be so much more productive. Thanks for joining us today. If you like this video, please subscribe and make sure you're notified of the next in the series, which is Talking HR Trends with Natal and Tom.